There's my red light. The red light always means, hey, start talking. So here we go. Hey, welcome back. Hey, thank you for opening this up and for continuing your educational journey. I just appreciate being a part of what you got going on. It's great working with the high school kids and talking about their futures and where they're headed. And in the Crowder people, you're in that spot to where you're working hard to get to where you want to be scholastically, academically, careerly. That's not really a word, so don't write that down. But career. So, like I said, I just appreciate being a part of that. Enjoy being a part of that. Love being a part of that. And appreciate you guys. Love you guys. And hey, pretty excited about today's topic. I say it too much that these three chapters, 6, 7, and 8, metabolism and energy, and at 6, and then 7, cellular respiration, and then 8, photosynthesis. Man, if they would let me, man, I would spend the entire semester or at the high school, the entire school year, just talking about those three and really making sure that a person understood all the aspects. And I would just enjoy that so much, and it would just be a blast. But obviously, we can't do that, or obviously, we're not given the option of doing that. But it is what it is, and we will be talking about photosynthesis today, and it's an amazing, amazing part. And we're going to start with, let me get a little pen here. We got to go green. Heck yeah. Oh, I don't know, can I say heck yeah in a school setting? I don't know. But we'll find out we got to go green. So when we talk about that little nugget right there, we're just going to sit and just ponder the incredible scenario that is, and but that's in due time. Hey, in Microsoft Whiteboard, you can see the name right up here. Hey, they gave me a new toy today. I always sit here and make a mention. Sometimes I wonder how long these things are. I don't know if one of you guys wrote them and suggested this or whatever, but they gave us a timer. Now I can actually see how long. And if you're wanting to chunk this into small little bits, you can see when 10 minutes is up, 12 minutes is up, 30 minutes is up, whatever. So yeah, I got me a neat little toy there. But let's get rid of those two arrows. Just we're gonna need those spaces. Well, we don't need that one over there. But hey, but again, welcome back. Thank you. Whether you're a Nevada High School student watching this, and just think, if you're a Nevada High School student, this is our last chapter. We are near the end of the school year. It should be April-ish, and once you finish April, well, you are staring summer break right down the barrel. That's a gun reference. I don't know if I can say barrel in a school setting either, but we're gonna find out, I guess. And if you're a Crowder student, this is, you're gonna be watching this one next week, so. You're on 7 right now. We just did 7 Thursday. We'll knock out 8 this weekend. You'll be watching this come weekend, maybe even tomorrow. I'll get this up and going for you guys. But anyway, hey, let's get started. Man, let's think about, I want my pen back. Yeah, we're going to think, I'm on eraser. We are going to think about what photosynthesis is in a big picture type setting. I'm going to read this to you, but we're going to think about this for a second. But photosynthesis is a process that captures energy that originates in outer space and converts it. I need a space there. I'll fix that once I'm done talking here. And converts it into energy for us. Man, just think about that. The sun emits those wavelengths of energy, and if you're a physical science person, you study that from as far as electromagnetic spectrum. But emits those wavelengths of energy, and they travel millions and millions of miles. millions and millions of miles. And just think, just like if it emits it out in all directions, and then so we only get the small little portion that ends up hitting Earth. So if you can think of that geometrical circle, 360 degrees, and a pulse of energy goes out. Okay, our little planet Earth, man, it's only going to get it's got to be less than 1%, I would think, of that energy that actually lands on Earth and hits Earth. And really, if you think about that, it's only going to be the portion that's facing the sun. So it's a good thing that the sun spins. You know what? I don't know if I've ever really thought about that. If the Earth didn't spin and it only just traveled around, would only one side of the globe be able to photosynthesize? I'm gonna have to think about that. That's a pretty deep concept. I'm gonna have to do the diagram math on that and see what that. But I think that would be. No, I'll sit and think about that for hours. So I better put that thought aside. But not only that, but it puts that energy into tasty treats. You know, we're talking, if you're talking just fruits alone, strawberries, and all the different kinds of the plants, and if you think corn, lettuce, all that stuff, tasty treats for us that we enjoy eating. It's just a phenomenal process, and it's just a I use the word miracle, but I mean miraculous situation that we can get our energy that way. And of course, from there you can go into all kinds of arguments and debates about how it all started and who started it and all that kind of stuff. But that's not for this class right here. That's for the philosophers and the religions and the government people to decide all that. All right, so let me click on this. Oh, I got to get the pen out of here because that space is going to bug me until I get it fixed. So we're going to edit that and put a little space right there, yeah, and then we'll close that back out. But that's such an amazing concept. And I talk all the time about how I know science, especially at the high school level, it just seems like a chore and just a box you got to fill and check it off the box and that kind of stuff. And if you're a Crowder bio person, it's not really your field. You're like, man, let's just get this done. But man, just the incredibleness of the situation, that's the process that your body uses to gain energy so you can be this miraculous, incredible machine that you are, that we never ever have to think about. And I say that a bunch of times, but man, it is such an amazing deal. And here I've already spent 8 minutes and we're still just in our introduction. So in our study of photosynthesis, this is going to be a 2-video process. This first part is just going to set up all the background information. And so it should be a shorter, I can't promise 30 minutes since I've already used up 8:35 and just introing it. But it certainly won't, I don't know, but it'll be shorter. But the second one's probably going to be, spoiler alert, probably going to be some pretty good distance on it. So let's get this party started. Let me get my pen back up here. Oh, I didn't mention, hey, as always, I got the glass of water. You can see that it's morning time here. It's pre-lunch, so no Dr. Pepper yet. And I got my page of notes right here ready to go. So let's get this photosynthetic party started. Man, can I say party in the school setting? I don't know, but we're going to find out. All right, so let's close that out there. I got my deal there. So now, this is what we're talking about. Okay, I'm going to put my arrow over here. I'm on eraser, I guess. Maybe I just got to choose one of these. I'll just choose that. There we go. So we're talking about plants and the incredible process that plants can go through, taking that energy from the sun, those wavelengths, and converting it into energy. Okay, big picture, making a sugar that we studied way back in chapter 3, the macromolecules. in order for animals to eat and take those sugars into their own cells, and that can be used to supply the energy that their cells need and for everything, all the processes. Now, I personally would not enjoy eating grass. I mean, I guess if I had to come down to it, I'd figure out a way, maybe a little ketchup, maybe a nice little sandwich spread kind of a thing, maybe some salsa, I don't know. But I'd figure it out, I guess, if I just had to. But luckily, you know who does like grass? This bad boy right over here. He loves him some grass right there. And eats that and eats that and eats that all he wants and chews and then but here's how Mr. Stewart gets his energy through this process. Nice juicy burger. Yeah, hopefully that cow's not too offended because he had to see the hamburger. But that's how Mr. Stewart gets his. I almost said Coach Stewart. Hadn't been Coach Stewart in a couple of years now, but for years that's how my third person reference, but hadn't been that for a couple of years now. But anyway, a nice juicy burger. I mean, just look at this. This is, I mean, if you want to go health class, is it four food groups? Yeah, I think it is 4 food groups. I mean, I got my bread group here. I got my fruits and vegetables here. I got me a nice tomato in there. I got me some good onions, some lettuce. Love me some lettuce, I'll tell you what. Matter of fact, we were planning on BLTs later on, and I'm looking forward to that. And I got my dairy group in here. I've got my cheese in there, and of course I got my meat group right there. So Mr. Stewart, he is set there for the 4 food groups. So if you're a future dietitian out there, a nutritionist person, man, you're thinking, all right, he's got it made right there. And so that's how I would get my sugars from plants. Nice tomato, got some lettuce and onions, as I said there. And I'm sure there's some pickles in there. That's right, some pickles. What else might be in there? I get ketchup. Yeah, there'd be some ketchup on there. That would also have the tomato stuff and then the sugars. And the mustard, yeah, from mustard seeds. Oh, yeah, that'd be in there. So, yeah, there's lots of ways that we can get those sugars. And that's the whole process of the food cycle, the food webs kind of thing, the sunlight, the plants, the herbivores, the omnivores, and the carnivores, which is us. So it's just a great, great system. So let's talk about, and I'm going to erase these 2 lines here. I'm going to need that space possibly to get some stuff done here, and we will close this out and get us a little text box here. And so now let's talk about what photosynthesis is. Yeah, tricky word to spell, but I've done it so much over the years. That's one word. Oh, I didn't like that. Certainly want to edit that. We just getting started. All right, strong teacher move, outline format right there. Photosynthesis. Man, it is a series of chemical reactions. And certainly in chapter 3, the macromolecules, we talked a lot about that process, dehydration synthesis, hydrolysis, and those chemical reactions in plasma membrane, endergonic, exergonic, that kind of stuff. No, that'd been chapter 6. And so we emphasize it a bunch in that chapter 2 that the reason why we have to talk about that stuff is because if you don't understand chemistry basics, you can't really understand what your cells are doing. But photosynthesis is a series of chemical reactions, and just like cellular respiration was, with those electron carriers and breaking off those H's and stuff. But it also results in production of food, which I am a huge fan of. Love me some food. Love me cooking food. Like I said, I probably enjoy the making it more than I do the actual eating, which I really enjoy. But like on a Friday night, this is Saturday, like last night, stop at the butcher shop in Lamar, the chop shop. Love that place, man. Those guys are incredible. If you don't know about that place, you need to check it out. Actually, no, don't do that because I don't want more customers there because I want the supply just for me. So, but get home on a Friday night and get something on the grill, sit out on the patio and get the birds and the breeze and the food cooking, the smell of that. Probably a dog sitting there with me. Man, it's just a great time, and it's just a relaxing time. It's usually just me, and so enjoy that. But anyway, results in the production of food. Okay. Also, get my outlines format there, which is a strong teacher move. Nope. And as always, I hate just typing that too because it won't do it right. So I'm going to close this out, get my green back up here, and make my little 2 right here. It's got to be a little subscript, and then close that out. Come back to this, edit, certainly. Consumes CO2, carbon dioxide. And that's when we talk about the cycle part, and we did it in chapter 7, that's just the amazing part, that the very thing that we get rid of as a waste product, plants take in as a needed resource, and that's just a phenomenal aspect of being a cycle. Some part of that circular pathway stuff that we have to answer questions about in chapter 7, but also releases oxygen. I mean, it's not really considered by a waste product by plants, but it's a byproduct of the process. And the plants release oxygen, which we got to have for a variety of reasons. We release carbon dioxide, which the plants need for the process. And it's just an amazing relationship between the two organisms. Well, I didn't mention wearing sleeves. It's a little chilly this morning. I don't know if it's high school students. You're not going to be able to remember this, but way back in the fall, start of the school year, it was hot, and then boom, we go from being 85 to 25 in about a 36-hour period. And so a little chilly, and I got a heater down there, but it's a little noisy, and I didn't want to drone in the video, so I turned it off, put some sleeves on, and hoping I can stay warm enough. Yeah, but a little chilly in Stewart compound this morning, but it's supposed to get up to reach 70, so it'll be fine by the afternoon. Next up, okay, 99%. All ecosystems are powered by the sun. And I mean, so that speaks volumes of how beneficial or important and needed that sun's energy, those wavelengths from the sun are. So where would those other, just from a side note standpoint, where would the other 1% be of ecosystems? There's 2 obvious things, underground, okay, and of course, obviously in the oceans. Those aspects, especially down by those thermal vents where the subduction zones create those rifts, and you've got the molten lava that pours out. That's usually some kind of a sulfur-based system down there, deep in the ocean. Okay, and our last note here is going to be kind of a summary of the whole thing, which is what we're going to start talking about now as we talk about the cycle. But it takes water, and by that we mean water molecules out of the atmosphere. CO, and I'll just put the 2 there. I don't like that, but I've already done that once, and take the time to and sunlight. And just for space, I'm going to put carbs there, but recognize that I'm talking about carbohydrates in that scenario. So to make carbs, to make those sugars that we need to use to supply the energy for all the cell's processes. All right, so that is the beginning notes there for that. And so I'm going to slide over here slightly and focus now on this bad boy right here. All right, so get my pen here. So let's break this down. Let me make this. Let's go a little bit bigger. Can I move it? No. No, that's big enough right there. All right, so we're talking about carbon dioxide, and we're talking about water. And of course, we got this arrow right here. Okay, and that's where the sunlight comes into play. Now, the sunlight, its role in all this would be similar to making a cake. All right, you take the flour, you take the water, you take the eggs, the sugar, and then whatever kind of cake you're making, if it's a, whatever flavoring would be in there. And you put that all into the pan and you mix that up real good and put it into the oven. And the oven supplies the energy, okay, that converts all that material into the cake. Well, the sunlight is playing the role of the oven, okay, in this case. It supplies the energy. So the rest of this stuff is just broken apart. And what I mean by that is, if you can imagine, if I take this carbon dioxide, and to make a molecule of glucose, I got to have 6 of them. So what the plant does, from a cellular standpoint, from a chemistry standpoint, it takes that carbon dioxide and those water molecules and just makes piles of elements. So, for example, we're going to have a pile of C's, we're going to have a pile of H's, and we're going to have a pile of oxygens. So we take all that. So let me make some little C's here. So we just separate them through hydrolysis, that process, break them apart. So I got some C's, and then I've got O2, so I'm going to have 12 oxygens. So I can, that wasn't a very good O. And then drawing some more O's over here. Okay, and so there's all those. So I piled all those up. And then in here, I'm going to have 6 sets of, because I got a 2 there, of hydrogens. So again, I'm going to have a bunch of H's. And these are obviously going to take a little bit longer here. But just so you can visualize what's going on here, there's 5. And then up the other side. $12. And then 6 more oxygens. That's 5, 6. Yep. Okay, and so we've taken all those, we've separated those out, put them in the piles, and now the plant is going to reconfigure them, put them back together, okay, to make this bad boy right here, the glucose molecule. Okay, the glucose molecule. So that's the process that we go through, and that's why we got to talk about chapter 2. That's why we got to make sure that we understand. And chapter 3, dehydration, synthesis, and hydrolysis, because we just broke them apart, and now we're going to put them, I shouldn't say we, the plants are going to put them back together, okay, to form this. So it's going to take these 6 carbons, okay, it's going to take 12 hydrogens. So by doing this, we use up all of those 2 sets, and then we're going to take 6 oxygens, okay, and all those 3 groups are going to be used to make the glucose molecule. And then guess what happens to these bad boys in here? Okay, they leave. And that's what this is right here. Okay, 6 oxygen molecules. Covalent bonds for those high school students that had to suffer through, again, all that chemistry stuff. They're going to bond covalently, and then they're going to be breathed. We're going to exhale. That's the word I was after. Exhale those, or the plants are going to release those, and we are going to take those in and use them. So that's the process right there. And again, that's another reason why we got to look at chapter 2 as long as we do, or as tough, not tough, but as I don't know what the right word is there, but that's the reason why. You got to understand what's going on here. So that is just a great look at what's happening in this process. Breaking apart molecules, building molecules. All right, so let me close this out so we can just look a couple ways at the process. And you can see over here, get my pen back up here, all the things that we're going to talk about. We're in the introduction mode right now, and that's all this video is going to be pertain. And then all the rest of this will be in video 2, which I'll be making this afternoon. All right, so let's talk about this whole process. So we've already mentioned a couple times that the plants, they're going to take this carbon dioxide that we have breathed out and some water, and we're going to go through photosynthesis, okay, with energy from the sun, as you can see here. Nice little happy sun up here. Give him some eyes and a smiley face. This alludes to what I was talking about the other day. So if you put Earth, we'll say right there, you can see that metaphorically this is going to go this way and this is going to go this way. So somewhere in this way, this is the amount that we're going to get, and you can see from a degree standpoint, that's a pretty small amount. It may not be as little as 1%, but it wouldn't be much higher than that. It wouldn't be much higher, because if you think about this, would be 25%. Yeah, so anywhere between 1 and 5%, just from an estimation standpoint. But that's a side note. Certainly not going to be anything we talk about or ask about. But we go through photosynthesis and we make that glucose molecule. And that's what this whole process is about. That's what chapter 8 is about. All the rest of this, that was chapter 7. And of course, we're in chapter 8 here. So that's this whole cycle, this whole process. But as we know from looking at 7, and as we will learn from looking at 8, it is a much more complex process than that, as you can imagine. And that's what this fancy little diagram illustrates. If we divide this into half, on the cellular respiration side, we know that we've got the glycolysis, we got the pyruvate oxidation, the Krebs cycle that we went through, 2 rounds of it, the ETC and the chemoosmosis to make all those ATP molecules. The same thing goes on with the photosynthesis. We've got a lot of stuff going on. Again, we're taking in sunlight and water. You can see here. We're getting in some CO2. We're releasing some oxygen, and you can see that we're going to make some small amounts of ATP. And looky here, we got an electron carrier right there. Yeah, little NAD. So looking forward to talking about that. It's a little bit different. There's an extra phosphate involved, so that's actually NADPH. But we'll talk about that. But we got this bad boy here, the Calvin cycle, and you can think Krebs cycle. You can think, as far as metaphorically, pretty similar in structure. It starts out with the product and breaks it down, and converts, and then back to the beginning again. And we're going to make this P-gal, which is a predecessor, and eventually we get to glucose, and then you can see all this middle part. That's the final products, releasing O2 for the glucose. So it's just an amazing cycle. So that's a little preview of all the different parts that we're going to be looking at. So it's already been 30 minutes, so I'm way beyond that. And I think that's our last one. No, well, that's our last new information there. That's a review over there. And then we're done. So these 3 pictures right here, and we're done. So possibly 15 minutes. So, but we'll see. So again, just one more little diagram. Sunlight, okay, plant, carbon dioxide in, water in, and it gets it from the soil, yes, but it can also take it in through its stroma, which we'll learn about, which the Crowder people will learn about. The bio people at high school, we don't get that far. So that's the idea with this diagram. Just another look at this amazing process called photosynthesis. All right, so let's look at our last bit of new information. Scoot this up as high as I can, and I'll just type down below here. Bring this over here, and then this one over here will be a review, and then we'll be done. So we're at 32-ish, so possibly 10 minutes, we'll see. But we want to break down these parts right here. All right, so we're talking the chloroplast. This right here, chloroplast, and then in chapter 4, the organelles, we talk about the chloroplast and the importance of it, the chloroplast, the mitochondria, and we introduce it and kind of define it as being the place where photosynthesis happens, which is absolutely correct. And now we're going to introduce the players, the cast list of things that are inside of a chloroplast. And then in video 2, we'll talk about how. This is what is going on. Then the next one will be how it's going on. All right, we first want to talk about chlorophyll. Okay, chlorophyll. What chlorophyll is? Oh, I didn't do my strong teacher move. Little outline format. And then back here. So chlorophyll is simply it's simply a green pigment. If you want to think like a Mountain Dew, something like that, it's just green liquidy stuff. Obviously a little bit thicker than what pop would be, certainly a little less syrupy, but it's able to absorb. And if that was all it did, you would say like, well, water can do that. Okay, my shirt can do that. They can absorb it. But the other part is and convert it. Okay, it also can convert it, which your shirt or the water cannot do. Or, you have leather seats in your car. Okay, they can also absorb it pretty well as well. Well, I don't know if that's so much absorb, but just be warmed up by it. But anyway, side note, not important. But it's able to convert it. Okay, now chlorophyll is inside a thylakoid. Okay, and a thylakoid is just simply a membrane sac I didn't feel right typing it, but believe it is. Okay, that contains the chlorophyll. So whether you want to think sac, whether you think a little box, whether you want to think something that can just contains it. And so you can see here, this is the thylakoid, this is the thylakoid, all these little green circular objects, those are thylakoids, and inside those is where the chlorophyll is. So the sunlight would travel through the thylakoid, the membrane, and into the chlorophyll. Okay, next up for us is, you want to think granum. Nope. You want to think granum. Oh, I forgot my outline format up here. See, a granum is a stack that didn't feel right. Okay, a stack of thylakoids. And so you can see that right here, stack of those. Now, the other word, which isn't up here, but it will be over here, and so we'll emphasize it over there. Okay, a grana stacks of thylakoids. In other words, plural. So granum would be singular, one stack. Okay, grana would be stacks. So for example, this is a granum. Okay, and in this particular diagram, we're going to have, let's get the pen back out here. So we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll count that as 5. That one is 6. And then we'll go 7. We'll go 8. We'll go 9. And we'll go 10. We'll go 10 granum to make up the grana of thylakoids. So if you were saying we got a grana of thylakoids, or I've got 10 granums of thylakoids. So that's how you would envision that. So let's close this out. Come back and edit this. We got one more to put on there. And the last one is stroma. Okay, stroma is the fluid matrix around the, we'll say, granums. And a little comma here, think cytoplasm. Okay, think cytoplasm. So just some kind of what's the word? Gel-like substance. Okay, that just surrounds them. Protection, support, resources, just something to keep them healthy, structured, and safe, and working properly. So that's the stroma. It's just the area around. It's not a great line right here because you don't even know really what it's pointing to, but it's the empty space. Let me put that on there. Empty space within the inner membrane of the chloroplast. Okay, close that out, and we will go over here and do a review. And I was wrong, neither one of those words on there, but we'll write them. Put our pen back up here. So again, thylakoid. Inside the thylakoid will be the chloroplast, and so this would be a granum. And then so all of these would be the grana. So if we were just like we did over there, we would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 granums, okay, in our collection of grana. And of course, then we've got the inner membrane, the outer membrane, and that whole, and of course the stroma, which is going to be all this empty space here with that fluid-like substance that is its function is just to keep the thylakoids healthy, provide resources, and anything it would need. It can travel through there and get there as a part of that. Oh, excuse me. So there you go. Right at 40 minutes. Of course, a pretty decent long introduction. But that's our background information for our look at the photosynthesis. So with that, hey, I hope you enjoyed that. I'm looking forward to part 2 this afternoon and to make that video. Love talking about this stuff. Enjoy it. I enjoy it and a bunch. And so again, thank you. Man, I hope everything's going well with you. Truth be told, the whole COVID thing, at least from my perspective, maybe it's starting to die down. Not the virus itself isn't dying down, but maybe the day-to-day concerns and fears and stuff with it. I mean, we're still popping, things still pop up, but maybe from a mental standpoint, we're starting to get a little better handle on that, and from a emotional, fearful side effect, maybe that's starting to die down a little bit, which, and I hope that's the case for you. I mean, we're still getting cases. We're still having students, have to sit out, and still got to protect ourselves with masks and gloves and stuff, and all that's fine. But just from a mental health standpoint, maybe it's getting a little bit better to go through the daily process of everything. And so, but as always, man, I hope you're in a good spot mentally, physically, emotionally. Always want to take care of yourself. Always want to make sure that you are operating, in a good spot and in a healthy spot. So take care of yourself. Enjoy everything. Enjoy your days. It's not just about the work, although the work is super important that we're all doing. But anyway, hey, with that, let's get out of here, and we will say goodbye until next time.